Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 1, Les Oderants. I'm Dan and I'm joined, as always, by Fliss, James and Ben. Say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Everybody's had a summer holiday or been away or done something over the summer. Just as a side note, my least favourite word in the whole world, I think, is hollybobs. And I strongly believe that anyone who uses the word hollybobs is either, if you're like under the age of 4, it's okay. Anyone over the age of 4 probably should just be flogged to death.
You know, when I was saying before about how you've enriched my vocabulary working on this podcast.
Yeah, I've just de-enriched it.
Well, no, for better or worse, I was going to say, because, hollybobs is in there now, and if it ever pops out, I'll fucking slap myself. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you. Yes. But I'd rather talk about what folks have been doing over the summer and anything perfumey. And just to recap my summer, because I had a fantastic summer. I was made redundant, so that was like that was probably not the best.
I'm not laughing at you being made redundant. I'm laughing at the glee with which you are telling the story.
He's been sat around three wanks a day, fucking bit of this morning. Do you know what I mean? It's not all bad, is it? It's not all doom and gloom. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
it's when you start wanking to this morning. That's when you got a problem.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm not really sure where to go with that, really. But obviously, since the redundancy, there's been a marked increase in. What's a better word than wanking? I don't know. Jesus Christ, this is the worst start to any episode.
Self-love.
Self-love, yeah. Yes, yeah. Anyway, my summer also included a holiday. Went on holiday and took the horrible teenage daughters and a friend of each. So there were 4 teenage girls plus my wife and I. And actually it worked incredibly well because we just basically latered the children, left them on their own pretty well most of the day and night. And Lisa and I went out and did exciting stuff, which was cool. In the blazing heat, we managed to walk about 90 kilometres. And I tried to remember what perfumes I wore, and they weren't very interesting. So I'll rattle through them and then we'll talk about someone else's perfume. Well, they were all right. So, Louis Vuitton Imagination, which is like... it smells nice, but honestly, it's starting to become a complete snooze. I grabbed a Alexandria clone of Louis Vuitton Symphony, which smells exactly like Louis Vuitton Symphony, but all it really did was convince me that I have no intention of spending like £800 or whatever it is on a bottle of Louis Vuitton Symphony.
It's one of the expensive ones, isn't it, with the flashy lids?
Yeah, which are meant to. I think they're meant to be like water or something, like in
they
motion.
Look like tinfoil.
Yeah, they look like scrunched up tinfoil. They look like something in a conspiracy, nutter would wear on their head. It's a nice perfume, but a lot of the Louis Vuitton stuff. Not all of it, but a lot of it smells really nice. And you sort of go, oh, that's a nice smell. But they're all a little bit kind of one-dimensional for the most part. And they don't, there's very little emotional kind of resonance for them. I will set aside Ombre Nomad and the one that I really like, Nouveau Monde. I think Nouveau Monde is fucking sensational. But all the freshies smell lovely, but ultimately just a little bit fucking so what, And the other one was the Creed Royal Mayfair, which is always amazing and just always brilliant in the heat. That kind of naphthalene sort of eucalyptus sort of thing going on. I can't think of a better hot weather perfume than that, really. And that was really it. The only perfume that I'm sure I'll talk about other perfumes, but the only perfume I wanted to sort of mention briefly is that I was sent this one as a PR, which is the new Just Box 54. And this is a collaboration between Just Box and Sebastian Jara, the perfume guy, the guy with the baseball cap.
Oh yeah,
the American, and I don't believe he's done any sort of collaborations before. I'm not really sure what his role in this would be, but it's very boozy, and I was quite surprised to find that it's not a Bertrand Duchefort, because this smells very similar to a Bertrand Duchefort that he did for Les Bains Gerbois, which I mentioned in the last episode, last series. And it's a really nice boozy fragrance. It's like 1978 or something is the name of the perfume. 78, 87, 86. It's a year. It's somewhere around there. Yeah. And it's a Duchefort. This smells like that. It's not. It's actually another Julian Rasquinet, I think. Bafflingly enough. But it's incredibly boozy. Like really photorealistic-y boozy, and it's quite nice. It's all right. But I felt worth mentioning because it had Sebastian's name attached to it, or whatever.
Oh, sorry, that guy. Sebastian.
Yeah.
He changed his name to the perfume guy when he was called something else, wasn't he? For ages. Like, he had a whole brand of that, and then he suddenly went, I'm going to have like a baseball cap logo called the perfume guy. Like, it was only a few years ago.
Yeah.
He was previously something else, wasn't he? He was known better as something else. Anyway, I was surprised that he changed it. What I was going to ask you about, because as soon as you said, I've been on holiday, I was like, I bet you've worn Louis Vuitton, right? I'm not big into that collection. I've not really tried many of them. I've spritzed the occasional one, and you've sent me more than I think I've tried organically. But I did notice, because I know you're sort of inclined to, you're sort of partial to a £300 beanie. The Moncler ones. Yeah. Says me with my fucking tartan boot on. It's not a visual medium. I really appreciate that. I haven't really got the tartan boobs on. But we've already had this.
I think picture of tartan boobs may be required for explanation.
Yes. So
I don't even know what the word would be. Purposes.
So have you tried the Monclers that kind of look a bit like the Louis Vuitton? They're in like flasks. They're kind of like a Moncler collection with like like calligraphy fucking writing on them or whatever.
I have. I've got one of them, in fact.
Oh, have you? Yeah, I thought they were shite. No, I didn't really. No, I thought they were pretty bland. I mean, some excitement, a little bit, maybe. I was like, oh, okay, that's not... They haven't just done, they've done a Vetiver one. They have, but they've sort of... It's not as boring, but they were still pretty bland. They're in that Louis Vuitton vein of like stuff that's all right, you know what I mean? But it's not really setting the world alight. Does he love this one? He's got it stashed away somewhere. Fucking hell. Hey.
Well, I had to have a look for it because I can't remember what it's called. I've tried them all.
Yeah.
Sorry, twatting my microphone there. And this is the only one that I actually really liked.
Yeah.
And this is Haute Montagne.
Right.
Une éclat de bois blanc.
It's like got the old L'Art Parfumeur lids.
It's got a Moncler logo on it.
Yeah.
It's I really like this one. The rest of them were all a bit mediocre, I thought, and this one is not a revolutionary scent or anything. But I mean, I got this is a 200ml bottle, and I think I paid like 95 quid on eBay for it, and that's about the right price. I mean, I think they charge £200 for 100ml.
This is precisely it.
Clearly madness.
The right price of stuff is about half or slightly less than half what it actually is at the moment.
Whatever it is. Yeah,
and
even if it's mandate.
Stupid. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's stupid. The fragrance pricing is fucking ridiculous at the moment. Tried those two new Creeds. Again, I'm spurting me fucking load here, but 2 new Creeds, and I was shocked. how expensive they were. And that's not why I should be, because they're actually 100ml bottles. Are they 100ml? Yeah, they are. So actually, when you equate it and work it out, you're like, oh, actually, there's some stuff that I probably rave about that's probably on a similar par, but that's just pricing now. And it's like, I'm not even going to buy any of them because they're too expensive.
The new Les Indomitable, the one with the oud, is like
420 euros, for 50ml.
20 euros for 50.
I'm wearing that today, funnily enough.
Is it
any good?
Is it any good?
It is. Yeah. It is good, right? But it's not 420 fucking euro. I mean, what is 420 euros good?
Go back to our first episode ever, and I think
it's all coming full circle,
question, don't we?
Yeah. Well, I think an episode on pricing, I think, is certainly not a bad thing to revisit, because it's been a few years since we spoke about it, and I think there's been certainly a shift in pricing in the markets now. Every fucking thing is priced almost bizarrely. Although credit to a brand that I rather like. Called, I can never remember their name, but Bon Parfumeur. Bon Parfumeur make pretty good perfumes. None of them I've tried, I've gone, oh, well, that's fucking amazing and it's going to change my life. But they make good perfumes. They're presented cleanly in a very coherent sort of range. It's very minimal, and they charge for 100ml, almost all their perfumes, 90 quid. And they do 30ml bottles, and they do sampler things, and they're just a pretty decent brand. And funnily enough, I ended up having a conversation with some of their marketing people, and they were saying that it's no bullshit. The owner of the brand wants to try and deliver a decent value for money proposition for customers, and I think that's a pretty admirable thing in this day and age, given that Creed are I've not even tried the new ones. That's how interested I am. I mean, I used to sort of get quite excited about a new Creed release, but they're like fucking, I don't even give a shit anymore. Centaurus my balls.
Well, it's not often that a brand like even talks about value for money or that being a priority for their customers or anything. So
that's almost like the antithesis of the perfume idea, though, isn't it? The idea is that it's luxury and you should pay £900 for 50ml because that's exclusivity and that's what you're buying into. That's all part of the mystique.
I honestly don't
reassuringly expensive.
Even with the brands that were expensive back in the days and stuff. And funnily enough, there was a talk, I don't know if it was from this week, but I got sent it this week by that Fragrances of the World guy, the Australian fella, Michael Edwards. And he was talking about like Elizabeth Taylor, and he went through like all these kind of like, he did a really quick kind of like condensed sort of like thing from like the fucking 40s to like now kind of thing, and all the kind of eras he just sort of touched on quite quickly, but it was very good, and it just gives you a bit more of a sort of idea that there wasn't. I think brands have now gone, they'll pay stupid fucking prices for our clothes, why not the perfume as well? Whereas the perfume was always, yes, okay, you've got your higher end stuff that was always like Chanel, but there was kind of a sort of a cap on it, wasn't there? There wasn't like it's going completely outrageous. Whereas now they're like, it's got Moncler.
It was a way of being able to own part of the brand.
Exactly. It was the affordable entry point to a brand.
It was the affordable entry point was like.
But it's almost like a change in perspective on brands, though, because I think that was how they always saw it, and it was like, oh, if we can get this on Boots for 45 quid, then it's like you say, an entry point. But now they go, oh, we'll have that one in Boots for 45 quid. And then we'll do the Elixir for 100. And then we'll do the Elixir Parfum Special for 500 quid, and we'll only stick it in Harrods. It's like it's like almost like you see these bigger brands sort of tapping into the niche market because they've seen that people are willing to spend £400 on a perfume. They think, fuck me, I'll have some of that.
Which is why we've got this mad landscape where something's annoying me, right? And I need to fucking get it off my chest while it's fresh, right? So is that all right? So not only are there
stand by for rants,
shitty fucking like niche brands that you could really be a like clone or whatever. So you've got your standard like clones that annoy me, like, oh, we are basically a dupe of this, or all right, I'm some cunt who knows nothing about perfume. Smell this and then smell this. That's better, isn't it? That lasts longer. That's stronger. Do you know what? It's like £2, and this is like 300 quid. And fucking, why wouldn't you rather have that? And it's like, all right, I get that, right? But and there's a sort of an honesty about that. I fucking hate clones anyway. But there's no artistry, there's no love, there's no passion, right? But then you've got these brands now that are just basically that, but they're going, actually, we could have our own brand identity. We don't need to say that we're a clone of anything. We'll just say, so I'm not even going to say what they're called, but their perfume is called Smoke and Mirrors, right? I'm getting fucking bombarded with this shit all over the place. And they mock up like a little fake podcast where it's like some cunts who, I don't know who they are. They're like fucking made in Chelsea fucking wankers or something. And they're going, oh yeah, like, you know, wearing this perfume and like, got all these compliments. And they try and make it seem all organic and like they're doing a podcast and stuff. And it's just bullshit. And they sound like a steakhouse. You know the fucking name of this brand? It's like Miller Carter or some shit.
Like, Thompson Carter or something. It's some fucking it's some fucking 16-year-old marketing fucking student in Belfast, I think that's the brand who's basically come up with this. And fair play, commercially it's absolutely brilliant, and the marketing has been amazing. Obviously
fucking annoying and all over my phone. All over my phone.
That shit is amazing all over my phone. So obviously I've been putting a bit more time into Soma and stuff whilst I've been redundant, and had a delivery from DHL at the office the other day, and the guy came in and he's like, oh, can I ask you guys a question, right? I've been seeing all these adverts for Thompson Carter Smoke and Mirrors, and I was going to buy a bottle. What do you reckon? I just fucking no idea, mate.
My mate
looks shit. Why don't you try this instead?
My mate sent me a message today saying pretty much the same thing, and I went, oh, you have fucking opened Pandora's box, mate. You don't want to know what I think about that. Fucking scroller, bunch of cunts, scroller. Fucking, do you know what I mean? Just going off the head about it. I find that so much more annoying because it's trying to be all like, yeah, we're your mate, really. And, oh, this is like a whole new thing. So it's like sandalwood and this. And do people really know what those things actually smell like in combination? It's just really, I find it really fucking dishonest. Just say you're a copy of fucking Santal 33 and, you know, it's £2, mate. And does it smell like that? And go out on the street and do it in a regional fucking accent and try and like appeal to people. Do you know what I mean?
All right, dear me, sir. Okay, so the brilliance of your rant notwithstanding, I was determined that we would talk a little bit about what we'd done over the summer. And so Fliss has been very quiet, so I'm going to drag her up to the front and say, Fliss, tell us a little bit about your time off and some perfume-related shit, and try not to set James off on the subject of Thompson Farter or whatever it's fucking called.
Yeah, I know. So, yes, I have got 2 kids, 8 and 5, and so when people say the summer holidays, the word holiday is it has a different sort of connotation for me. It's just like a relentless train of entertainment and snacks and trying to think of something to do and making sure that they've got enough sun cream on. And we didn't go on holiday because the idea of actually getting them on a plane and going to a beach elsewhere, when we lived by a beach just over there 10 minutes away, just seemed to be bonkers to me. So we stayed at home, which I'm really pleased about. And the weather was great. We had lots and lots and lots of beach days, which was lovely. But then obviously I was just exhausted most of the time. Just that constant mom, snack, mom. You know how it is.
Now you're back on the podcast with your other children.
Yeah. So it was great, but I just feel like I just need, I need a break now. I now need a summer holiday. It's not going to happen. Anyway, one of the things, I to be honest with you, I ended up wearing a lot of my old favourites. I think there was just some really easy reaches. One of the things I discovered this summer that I really like, which was new to me because I found a partial, was Playa Linda by Chronotype. And I know we talked about it when we did the Chronotype episode, and I loved it then. But I was really pleased to find a very reasonable price partial, and it's just lovely. It was easily my most worn frag of the summer. It's this lovely fuzzy peachy osmanthus, but there's a salty metallicness to it as well. It's very dry. It's not juicy in the least. It just feels like, hot, sweaty skin straight out of the sea with some dry florals. It was great.
Nice.
Really, every time I wanted to wear anything and I didn't want to think, I just wore that, and it was phenomenal. And I'm going to need to get another bottle because I love it so much. Then I wore a lot of Ophelia by Healy, which I've also talked about before, which is like a very aquatic water lily floral. It's very fresh. And I say fresh, it's fresh for me, but I think for other people it might still be a bit indolic. There's jasmine and tuberose and liang in there. But it's got green notes, which I'm not normally a fan of. But in Healy, Healy as a line, I think, are really underrated, and everything I've tried from them I like. And this has been a real surprise for me. I loved it. I wore a lot of that this summer. And then I wore a lot of Habit Rouge, which you gave me, Dan. Which was the EDT.
That's a great
Yeah. And it's just so delicious, just so citrusy. It feels like, if I'm honest, it feels a bit like a Shalimar flanker, a nice citrusy light Shalimar flanker. You can just feel the guerillard running down the backbone of it. And I was basically just dripped of covering myself in that, a bit like one would drink elderflower cordial, just drenching myself in it. And again, Amanita cologne in the same way.
You drink elderflower cordial by drenching yourself in it, which is very porous skin.
No,
it's like a cat under a tap. Like they go, tip it over your head.
Like that.
Not a visual medium, kids.
No, I know. We can. I'll do a little video for it.
Please don't.
Slow motion with some sort of like 70s or 80s yacht rock in the background.
Yacht rock, by the way, is a term I've only recently learnt. But I love it.
I don't even know what it is.
You do. If you heard it, you know it.
Yeah. I think what was it? The Boys of Summer. That sort of vibe. What was he called? Don
Henley.
Yeah. Don Henley. Yeah, Don Henley. That sort of vibe. That's your yacht rock.
Look it up because I don't know.
I wanted to say Don Cheadle, but Don Cheadle's the American actor who did like the world's worst British accent in Ocean's 11 or something. And do you, no one else remember this? The worst accent
Yeah,
ever.
unfortunately, I do.
They've only gone and nosed it right up. It's like, what? That's worse than like fucking, what's his name in Mary Poppins? Fucking. Anyway.
I was going to say, surely he has got the worst British accent ever.
Do you know what? If you watch it a few times, it's
debatable.
not that bad. It's not. It is bad. All right, it's bad.
Hang on, which one are we talking about? Mary Poppins
Dick Van Dyke,
or Ocean's 11? Yeah.
But he does it in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang as well, doesn't he? He does it in both of them.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, no, I can't do an impression of that. It's too bad. Yeah, no, it's terrible.
Mary Poppins.
He's still going, him, you know. Still alive, old Dick. He's
Is
like
he?
100 or something.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Well, it must be about 150. Pretty sure Ted Danson is the oldest man in the world, by the way. There's no explanation for his aging. It's very strange. It's a very strange phenomenon. Anyway, Fliss, Whatever. Perfumes. Please save me from this weird.
The last one that I wore an awful lot of again was Habanita La Cologne, which I talked about before.
Boom.
Really, really fizzy, light version of Habanita, and it's the feeling of it is not too far away from Habit Rouge, and they have a huge fizzy citrus kick and then a leathery dry down, and the Habanita is a bit fuzzier around, sort of, it feels a bit more yellow florals, and there's a nutmeg note as well, so it's a bit spicier, and there's more oak moss in it as well.
Yeah.
Which Healy?
And those were kind of like my four big hitters.
Which Healy was it?
Ophelia.
Oh, I don't think I know that one.
I have an awful feeling it's discontinued.
No, of course it is, darling. I mean, why would it not be?
Well, I do tend to wear a lot of
discontinued one from
stuff,
them. I only tried it a couple of times, but it's fucking amazing, and I should buy it really, because it's only like 120
Which
quid or
one?
something. Is it called Cologne Officinale or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
I've seen that a few times for a decent price, and I was going to blind buy it on your recommendation.
Do it, dude. Do it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, penniless and broke until such times I'm re-employed, and then I will spend oodles of money.
Oodles of money. I have to say, we talk about bang for buck and value for money. I think Healy deliver really good bang for buck and value for money.
They do.
They don't put a foot wrong. There's no dross in that line at all. Everything, even if it's not for you, everything's really well made, really quality. Nothing smells cheap. It all smells. There's no bollocksy loads of synthetics feeling in the bottom of it.
They don't just spaff out releases.
Good.
That's the point. They consider them every couple of years. They'll release one, and you're like, that's carefully considered. That is.
Yeah. And they're all fucking class as well. I think it's a really classy house.
When it comes to the value for money episode, I can confirm I will be defending the indefensible and making the case for Henri Jacques and Roger Dove as being great value for money. That will be my strategy, and I'm gonna have
really?
I'm gonna have to fucking figure out how the fuck I do it, because obviously it's nonsense. But I reckon I'm going to use my powers of persuasion.
One of the things I did try in the summer was a kiss goodnight.
A goodnight kiss. That's not one of their best.
But I mean, it's fucking gorgeous. I was like, this is amazing. I need a bottle of this. It's so creamy and irisy. It's not too powdery. It's just that, and it dries down to the poshest of posh Dove soap, and it's just so me. It's very pillowy, and it lasts for bloody hours. It lasts all day until the next day. And then I was like, I adore this. I need it. £1,250 a bottle.
Yeah. So this will trouble you.
And in comparison to my 50 mils of Le Mans by Coty, which was £10.99, and is pretty much the same thing, but the Coty's got a lot of aldehydes in the top. I could buy 114 bottles of the Le Mans for the Roja.
This will trouble you, but I think I've got a very substantial decant somewhere of a goodnight kiss, which I can probably share some of for your amusement. At
so good.
At very minimal cost to the taxpayer.
A minimal cost. Start working out mil for mil and going, £73.
It was about his ma giving him a kiss.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically Le Mans by Coty, but without all of those sharp aldehydes at the top. He has done it a lot better. Or at least a lot better than the modern. They. Than the modern Le Mans. I need to test some vintage Le Mans.
Okay.
But it is.
I don't think it's a big shocker to say that I don't think he personally did it. That's my guess. But hey, I may be proven wrong. I mean, certainly, what's her name from the other brand has got the arsehole with us for suggesting that she didn't make her perfume. So, oops. Anyway, okay, good. Fliss, are you done? Because I feel like I want to move us along. Okay. Ben, being the Irish sportsman that you are, have you been globetrotting anywhere over the summer?
Oh, yeah, all over. You wouldn't believe. Trail like no one's business. I took up metal detecting this summer.
Really?
So
Don't you do that, Fliss?
I spent a large amount of time in the fields and in the forests with my dog.
I've got 2 metal detectors.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I did a bit of detecting.
Fucking pair of nerds.
I bought a Nocta Legend. It was a lot of fun.
Fuck.
So I spent a lot of time in the woods up by my house, just up the road with my dog.
Did you find anything?
There's some great Facebook groups that are really good for identifying stuff, especially coins when you start finding odd coins.
Well, so the only coin I found so far was a 50p piece, right? And it was brown, and I thought, God, it must at least be old. And I looked at it, and it was like 15 years old.
That's still pretty cool.
15?
I did find a can top though that was so old that it had like the pull thing, so it must have at least been from the 80s. So
Ring pulls,
that was pretty good.
High value shit here, Ben. I mean,
just shit. It's just
I'm well
shit.
into it, Ben. You and I can chat about this another time.
Yeah, please do. I'll be honest, guys. That is the fucking weirdest side conversation we've had on this show. So,
but it was beautiful, because the weather was great and it was really peaceful, and I just had the dog running around like a looper. And do you know what? Everything smelt like Sur La Route by Louis Vuitton, because that's pretty much all I've been wearing all summer, because it's fucking magic. And I know we talked about Louis Vuitton, but this one,
which one
I don't know if you've tried it.
What does Sur La Route smell like? I don't think I know.
Well, let me tell you what it smells like. It smells like, it's like this gorgeous, like heavy citrus on the top with like sort of limey, lemony citrus, bergamot typical, but very strong. And it lasts forever, but underscored by sort of a leather and patchouli. And the leather is, it's sort of pushing on skanky. I wouldn't say it's like skanky, but it's got a funk to it. It's not sort of clean, lovely leather. It's definitely got
I know it.
an animalic skank to it.
I think I want to try that.
I had a bottle of it. But honestly, my experience of it does not chime with yours. I like
everyone else around me hates it.
No, I like the scent. It just, I could not smell it after about 20 minutes. Just like completely gone. Like,
oh wow.
And I'm not, as I've said often, I'm not one of the performance bros. But if I can't smell it after 20 minutes and it's cost like 200 fucking sheets for a bottle, you can go, not really my jam. But now I need to revisit it, because if you spent the whole summer with it, Ben, bloody hell.
Pretty much. I mean, I wore a couple of other things here and there. I tried some new stuff here and there as well, but that I just kept like wearing it over and over again, and it lasted, like you say about the lasting. I would get up in the mornings and still smell it and think, I'll just wear it again, because it's still on me a little bit, and it was just fucking banging. I loved it. It's really not. Everyone around me hated it. Everyone around me that smelled it said, yeah, there's something a bit off in it. That like the leather smells a bit. But to me, I was like, I don't care. It smells gorgeous. So I absolutely love that. Wore that too much. Right at the start of the summer, or sort of way back, I bought Imperator Royal Crown. So I've been wearing finally got hold of that off of Big Dave.
Big Dave.
So yeah, I've been wearing quite a bit of that. I'm wearing it today, actually, funnily enough.
Nice.
I don't really think that's particularly summer, but I just loved it and just wore a lot of that. Although I did actually eventually start feeling like, okay, this is a little bit too classy just to be banging around the house in.
What?
So I stopped.
No such thing.
I never have that. Never, ever.
I don't normally, but there's something a bit plush about it, and I just thought, it feels a bit off.
I mean,
so I stopped.
I mean, surely the butler appreciates it, right? And the
well,
staff.
Naturally, yeah,
exactly,
like
it's fine.
Some glimmer of hope in their otherwise dark lives.
Absolutely.
Tied to the kitchen sink.
Yep. Good. Well, you are a kind and gentle leader.
And otherwise, I tried the new Selda Issy, if anyone's tried that.
That's had really good reviews on the groups.
Yes, good. It's nice. I liked it. I don't think Dan would like it.
You don't?
Because you don't like... No. It's got that sort of minerally sort of vibe to it that I instantly thought that would not sit well with you.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I thought it was good. I liked that it was like a woody, designery fragrance, but it was different. It wasn't... It was trying. It feels like it's trying to sort of force something new. I don't know if it will succeed, but at least it's trying. I liked it. I did only smell it over the counter at Boots, so like it's not exactly I haven't really spent a lot of time with it, but I liked it on my first impression. I thought it was really nice, and I think I'm probably going to at least go back and try it again, maybe buy it when I'm there.
Nice.
What was that Louis Vuitton called? Because I can't find any. Oh, Sur la Route.
Sur la Route.
Sur la Route.
Okay.
On the route? On the road?
On the road, yeah.
Talking of new releases, I tried the new Hermès, this Barenia. Shit. Absolutely.
Is it? Who did it? Who is it?
It's Christine Nagel. It'll be the last one that she releases before Biche takes over, and it feels like she's released something in his style so that nobody notices the difference. Right. She feels like she's ushering him in some way.
Yeah.
It's
a segue perfume.
Sharp, angry frutuli, so synthetic. There's just, I hate it. I literally hate it, and it's so sweet and synthetic and vile. Smells like there's some sort of celebrity brag, and they're calling it a sheepra. It's not a sheepra. It's a fruit tulip gone wrong, and it smells a bit angely as well, but without being as good as Angel. It's just.
Good Lord.
I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, no. Really?
No, I'm fucking with you. It's not fantastic, but I thought it was all right. I thought it was pretty nice, to be honest. A lot of people don't like that Akijala wood material, which, to be honest, I don't... I mean, it's not... It's not very. It's not very patchouli for people who like proper patchouli. It's not very. It's not. No. It's not like annoying. I don't find it like annoying like some of the other kind of base materials that people get pissed off about, like ambroxan and stuff like that. But I thought it was quite a nice. I thought it was quite a gentle floral, to be honest.
So screechy.
Yeah,
it's just like. Sharp and angry and just like in your face, and it's so big and diffusive. You could do like 2 sprays, you leave the room for 10 minutes, you come back into the room you sprayed it in, and it's just cloyingly sitting almost like smoke over a bar before the smoking ban.
I read a review because I basically gave quite a middling kind of lackluster review, so I understand your position to one extreme. I couldn't understand the position to the other extreme of really loving it, because it's not elevating the brand or bringing anything forward or whatever.
It's not classy and cool, that Hermès feeling of just being so class. This is not in any way classy perfume. You can like it, but I don't think you could ever call it classy. I think
George, shout out to George Yang. Yes.
Lovely George.
Fantastic review that he wrote, pretty much aligned with what you said. So totally against what my kind of, it was all right. And I read it and I was like, yeah, I can take something from that he'd taken into consideration. Look, they're making a big thing of it being a Chypre. I went along with okay, it sort of is a sheep, kind of, but I get why you go, no, fuck off, that's not a sheeper.
Technically,
like, you know, Crocodile Dundee, this is a fucking sheeper. Do you know what I mean? But I get that.
Yeah.
But also, I kind of think, like, the thing is, the bottle as well looks like kind of half-arsed. It does, right? For Hermes, it's kind of like a bit, what is that? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, the Gallop thing is a wonderful stirrupy thing. The previous bottles have been kind of interesting or whatever. That is just like, is that like I don't know what that is, like an old handcuff or something. Like, it's got this like weird top on it. Anyway, so yeah, I get that it's a bit of a lackluster thing. I understand the changing of the guard, with what's it coming in, Biche, but I'm pretty excited for Biche coming in. I know people are very dismissive and are like, oh, he's just going to inflict his style on Hermes. I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't do that. I hope he kind of like mellows it and does something. I don't know. I don't know what I hope he does, but it's probably not going to happen. But yeah, it's not the best release, but I actually thought it was quite a charming, inoffensive floral to me. But, that's me.
Well, I've not had a chance to try it, but I look forward to weighing in on this subject.
You won't like it, Dan. I'll tell you now. You won't like it.
No,
you'll hate it.
I don't think I will from anyone's description, to be perfectly honest. I mean...
it's too femme for you, mate. Fucking alpha dog.
Well, the things that you like about it... Yeah, thank you. Well, the things that you like about it, James, sound like things that I wouldn't like it about it, and the things that Fliss doesn't like about it also sound like things I wouldn't like about it. It's like, this doesn't sound like a winner. And I'm sort of growingly of the view that Akijala wood is some sort of devil's business. There's something far too persistent and aggressive about that as a material. And if it's going to be used, I think it has to be used in absolutely microscopic quantities, because otherwise everything just ends up smelling like fucking Bois Imperial or Ganymede or variations thereof. I think that is the same material, isn't it, that's in those that Biche uses?
No idea. Probably. I don't know.
Well, the Bois Imperial stuff.
Oh. It's definitely in Bois Imperial. I'm looking at it now. It's also in let's have a look. It's in Guidance as well. You can smell the similarity in the Guidance and Amouage Purpose.
Just because I brought them up briefly, but just those two new creeds as well, I think they sort of represent a kind of something that we're going to talk about in the second part, I think, about seasonal stuff, because clearly they have been coordinated to, be like, hey, these are our fall, winter. I'm calling it fall just for the sake of American listeners, just to be nice. It's autumn, really, you fucking knobheads.
It's autumn, you fucking...
No, so autumn and winter kind of like vibes, you know what I mean? They're trying to get... And they haven't gone, here's a men's release, here's a like women's release. They're both this kind of amorphous blob of whatever, and they're very heavy and they're not very Creed like at all, and I thought they were all right, to be honest. I'm not fucking mad about them. I don't think they're like hugely creative or anything, and they're not even in the style. They're like this kind of boozy, spicy wood, cherry bullshit, but I don't actually think they were that bad. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I'm fucking getting soft in the old age, but I think they were kind of okay. I wasn't...
Honestly, I really think you are. You send out a couple of wedding invitations and suddenly your eyes are all hearts and flowers.
Offended.
Fuck off. Where's James gone?
I wasn't offended by them. I was pretty offended by the price, but again, then I thought about it and thought, oh, well, actually, fucking, Les and Demodable and stuff like that, even though they're giving you real oud and stuff, it's still a lot of money. So, I'm not excited by anything. I'm not defending anything, but I'm also saying there's a lot of perfumery's just shit at the moment. All new stuff is shit. All new fucking innovations in materials is shit. And I just want to be like, it's kind of all right. And sometimes in hindsight, like down the road, you might look back on the fucking Akajala Wood days and go, oh yeah, they were actually not that bad. Because there's worse stuff. There's worse stuff in the future.
I can promise you now, I won't. I genuinely,
if there's fucking worse stuff in the future, you might do
50 sheets now.
It's happened
say no.
to me
That's
on many occasions,
right?
Through loving perfume.
That bet is locked in. Okay, James, tell us in.
You're giving me fucking constraints here,
-8 minutes. Tell us in -8 minutes what you did over the summer and your perfume related news.
Not really a lot.
Did you take up metal detecting?
No, but I have completely changed my perfume wearing habits due to not doing the full 14 anymore. That's not because I did it for the podcast or that was my thing. It's just like now that I don't write down anything that I've worn particularly.
Okay.
I wear stuff multiple days in a row, so I do a bit of a Ben. I might wear stuff for a fucking few days in a row.
Do a Ben.
I've tended to, just do normal people things that people do, go, oh, I'll try this perfume a few days in a row, rather than me just going, yeah, I've got it, I understand it, I completely understand, when you can't really do that with every perfume. But I like to think that most of the time my opinions don't massively change, because I'm like, I think I know what this is going to do. But sometimes they do. And sometimes that's what's amazing about perfumery. It can always fucking surprise you. And you can go, actually, I wore this for a few days in a row and it completely changed my whole fucking mindset on it. So today, like, for example, I'm wearing the new oud from Les Indomptables. So it's like Heart of Oud. Vanilla Van Queue de Oud, I think it's called.
I mean...
So what happened was, and I believe
I struggle to get excited about it,
from a reliable source, right, that's told me that do you know there's a man and a woman, I can't remember what they're called, fucking Valerie and fucking Patrice, whatever he's called, right? Sorry, mate.
Patrice.
I don't know your name, but if you want to come on, if you want to, send us some. No, he won't now. You know what I mean?
Is it Irish Globetrotter sportsman?
French materials guy and lady who run the thing. Anyway, apparently she was like, don't do a fucking oud. Oud's old hat. It's fucking bullshit. Don't do it. We don't need an oud. And then him and Antoine Lee apparently went and tried this oud material and were like, oh, God. I think they got nobbled at some kind of fucking convention or something, and some twat who's got some old fucking oud in his cupboard was like, I've seen these guys come in, let's fucking flog them this shit. Which, okay. So that's just what I'm thinking that they've done. And they've gone, oh no, come on, Valerie, it's really nice this, come on, check it out. And she's gone, yeah, okay, it smells a bit weird, it's a bit like ass, but and then they've gone, right, okay, let's make it into a perfume. And she's gone, no, we don't need an oud, we're not having a fucking oud, I don't want an oud. And then they've gone, oh, actually, what if we just combine it with one of our old perfumes that we'd already made, like not that long ago, called Vanilla Van, and we'll put oud with it. And she went, oh, it's quite nice, that, actually. And then he was like, oh, God, then we'll release it. And then he did. And that's apparently what's gone on. It might be totally wrong, and I might be just fucking spreading shit. But
they're only releasing 500 bottles of it, aren't they? Because of the amount of oud.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So, as far as this is concerned, I really liked the original Vanilla Van. I'm not really arsed about fragrances like that. It was very much, yes, it's got some nice tobacco and nice vanilla material. What I liked about it was that it wasn't particularly sweet. It smelled like woody and resinous, which is kind of like what good vanilla materials smell like. They don't really smell like vanilla, and they don't smell like creamy and fucking. They might do in an accord or a little bit, or use them in certain ways or whatever. But if you're doing a solid perfume like that, they smell more like benzoin. They're like kind of resinous and like woody, like I say, and not overtly sweet. They're sort of a strange thing, and it really does work with tobacco. And it really was reminiscent of my friends went to Dominican Republic and they got me some little cigarillos that had been rolled, and they showed me the video of the guy rolling them, and they were so fragrant with vanilla. And they were lovely to smoke as well. But the box stank of it. So they came in a wooden box and they stank of it for ages. And it was lovely. And I was like, that's really nice, tobacco and vanilla and whatever and wood. And that's what it reminded me of, that original one. So I was like, that's good. One, it was kind of Antoine Lee, like, not really doing a perfume. It was more like an indie perfume than anything else, because it wasn't very... he didn't use loads of like synthetics to like, space it out and make it like diffusive and stuff like that. It was kind of a big heavy lump of a perfume, but it was really nice. This, with the addition of the oud, I can see why it's complementary and it works. But now he has added a little bit of this perfume trickery to it to make it longer lasting and stuff. And I've got the little pot of the oud, so you get a little pot of the material as well, which was very kindly sent to friend of the show, the Duck, Mr. Rich Mitch. So thanks for that. The oud itself is not a very inspiring oud, right? As somebody who's not an expert on oud, but I've tried quite a lot of oud oils, right? This was a dilute oud oil because it was very mobile in the vial, so it's dilute, and it was strong, it was nice, it was like a fruity Thai oud. That's the best way to describe it. So it's kind of chocolatey, not very funky, a little bit funky but not very, you know what I mean, it wasn't like a really aged Indian like blues, and it wasn't more like a vetiver oil, which is like some of the Chinese ones, which I think are really interesting, right? So they picked pretty standard oud that smells like loads of stuff like that kind of stuff from Laos and Thailand. Again, there can be variations, but I mean, just crudely, the stuff that I've smelled is like fruity Thai oud, which there seems to be loads of those. And it smelled like that. So I was like, yeah, it's not a very inspiring oud to start off with. It's not like you're going for something really unique and whatever. So they've added that to this, and they've made a good fragrance. It is very good. I really like it. It's kind of chocolatey, it's kind of fruity, like I say, and then it goes down to a little bit. Somebody described it as being like that Iban, what's it called? The Agar Iban by Hermes. It's not that at all. That is a synthetic oud base, right? It's nothing like that, right? So I think for somebody to say that is really, bullshit, basically. Whoever wrote that fucking, so like Rich Mitch sent me a fucking somebody's review, and I was like, no, it's not that. I get that he's kind of he's plumped it up a bit with a bit of like modern stuff, but generally it does smell like that oud. It doesn't have the funk of the oud. It kind of loses that, but a lot of people aren't asked about that. Is it as good as, let's say, a Fall Into Stars or that kind of stuff? It's on that sort of par-ish, but it's not as good. But it's nearly. Do you know what I mean? So I liked it. I did like it a lot. I'm liking it today. I can still smell it now. It's good. But is it €420 good for 50 ml? Not really. Is it that exclusive that you're like, I've got to have one of these 500 bottles? No. If it was some really funky, weird smelling oud that you were like, I've never smelled anything exactly like that before, then yeah, cool. Or they were doing something kind of, interesting with it. But they've kind of simultaneously sort of ruined two things. So they haven't done a particularly, exciting oud, and they've also kind of slightly tainted maybe the Vanilla Van, even though it is a complementary mix, don't get me wrong. They still, I kind of still prefer the original Vanilla Van, because it does lose some of those qualities that it had previously, and sort of vice versa. That's it, really.
Well, I mean, Vanilla Van I sort of, on one level I really like the perfume, but on another it just seems, for me, it doesn't really seem to go anywhere. It's not a particularly dynamic experience wearing that perfume. You sort of spray it and you basically get more or less the same thing from start to finish, and it's nice and it's well done and all that kind of stuff. But what I found with that one was, whilst I like the perfume, I didn't love wearing it. Like I don't know. There's certain perfumes that's
the point of it, isn't it? If you don't love wearing it, then what's the fucking point? That's how I feel about loads
exactly.
of perfumes.
Yeah, and I sort of feel that way about a lot, and they just don't sort of stay with me for those reasons, really. I can't see the addition of oud really changing it substantially for me. I can see how oud would complement the sort of scent profile. But yeah, it's not a prospect that particularly excites me. And at €420 for 50 ml, I'm unlikely to be finding out anytime soon. Anyway, so yeah, fair play. Cool. Anything else exciting over the summer for you, James?
Not really. I think there were things, but I've probably forgotten them, and it's
excellent.
I've taken up enough time really talking about that. I have got these Balmains, which I'm inclined to just, because I haven't really got any fucking autumn stuff to
what
talk
are they? Are they re-releases?
Yeah, they're re-releases.
Oh, okay.
I'll talk about them in the second half a little bit. I'll only just cover like a couple of them. Because they're kind of autumny.
Right,
I think the whole vibe of them is probably... Yeah, it's autumny. Let's just say it's autumny.
Autumnal.
Boom.
It's fall. It's fall.
It's fall.
Okay, good, fine. In which case, let's try and be fucking uber disciplined and wrap this motherfucker up, part one. We'll take a quick break, get some sort of non-alcoholic drink, and then get going again in just a few minutes with part two. Stick with us. Bye.
Libation, that's another word that you've taught me.
Hello, and welcome back to part two of Les Oderants. This week we are doing the remarkably creative subject, hey, what fragrances would you like to wear for autumn, and what are you looking forward to? Because it's something exciting. You can see the fucking roll call of fragrance online personalities. I hesitate to use the word influencer, but you know what I mean. Doing their top 10 lists for fall. That it's like that meme with the buzzer. They're getting ready, like ready, go, top 10 autumn list. And it's like the minute the weather changes. So being completely original of thought, we're going to do our top autumn fragrances.
Can I tell you a top 10 list? Can I tell you a top 10 list I saw today?
Go on. Yeah.
Caught online. Top 10 pink bottles.
I like it.
I
actually like that.
It's as good
genuinely
a category as any.
That was genuinely the title. And the influencer is not he's got a lot of people following. Top 10 pink bottles.
I like it. I can respect that. I like a colourful bottle photo, so I tend to do like group photos of black bottles and blue bottles, and I did a rainbow one the other week.
Oh, you do the pride one, do you? You're after the...
It wasn't for pride. I literally just...
What do they call it? The pink dollar or something?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a performative allyship, I'm not really bothered at all. I just thought I'd try and get some of the gays to give me some money, That's basically how it works. No, I get that. I can quite enjoy the top 10 pink bottles, although I don't think I have enough pink bottles to make that worthwhile.
I like the fact that they're just forgoing, like, don't worry about the perfume. Like, they're no pretense.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
Like, fuck the perfume.
It's no
Let's
pretense.
just talk about the bottles, because that's what we're all interested in anyway.
But it's, as James says, it is as fucking good a category as anything else, really. And we're not going to do top 10 fall fragrances, because that would be dreary as fucking balls. But I'm sort of interested in what people are looking forward to wearing a bit more. And for me, certainly the heavier kind of woodier stuff, leathers and spicier stuff, which I tend to hold back on during the summer a bit. I'm looking forward to getting some of those out. And particularly one that I've been looking forward to. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but randomly it appeared in the Harrods calendar this year. So a brand called Graf, whom I think may be a sort of fashion brand. I'm not certain. But Graf is Graff, and they have a range called Lesedi Lerona. And
Graf is a jewelry designer, very high-end jewelry.
Okay, so Lesedi Lerona number 6 appears in the Harrods calendar this year, and I got a bottle of the number 6. The Harrods do a parfum sort of extrait version of it, and it is somewhere between a sort of Amber Absolute, Tom Ford Amber Absolute kind of vibe, and Dior's Oud Ispahan. And I love it. It's really, really fucking good. It's completely unoriginal. It's extremely derivative smelling, but it's very, very nicely done. And it's sort of very much a big, cooler weather type fragrance. And if fragrance had a shade, it would be a sort of rusty, orangey. Is russet a word? Is that the right colour?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, nice sort of orangey, reddy.
Russet.
Yeah, russet.
Fuck yeah.
Russet.
Yeah. So, what is that thing where people see sound in colours? Is that synesthesia?
Synesthesia. It's not just sound. Yeah. It's any sense swapping with another sense, so you can see words as colours or smells or sounds as those things. It's just where your senses are fucked up.
I can smell that as russet. That's my claim, and I'll see in court.
I can hear tastes.
Yeah, so James, you look like you're going to disagree.
No, I'm just saying I can like hearing tastes. That's fucking a weird one, isn't it?
Can you hear tastes?
Well, you just said it's swapping one for another. That's a fucking weird one, isn't it? That might be this one. I don't know.
Good. Okay, so Fliss, why don't you tell us something about perfume and your views on autumnal perfume? Is there such a thing? Do you give a shit? And if so, how much?
I do, actually, and I know that it's like really cool not to give a shit. And
I don't give a fuck, man.
To have exactly, and to wear really heavy things in summer and like
interlude to the beach.
Yeah, all of that stuff. But I'm just like, just stop being such a wanker. Of course, it's okay to have seasons in your perfumes. I think I have seasons in my perfumes for a number of reasons. One, just because heat really affects the smell, and I don't want to be wombling about with like masses of oud and vanilla on a really hot day because it just makes me feel sick. And citrus is nice and it's cooling and refreshing in the heat and all of that kind of stuff. And the air and the temperature of the changes in the season when autumn starts getting crispy and slightly smoky and the dewy is He's wombled off. He's just got up and left in the middle of my discussion.
Haven't left. I'm listening, you silly cow. I'm looking for a perfume.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Fliss, but some people are just not quite as developed as, other people. No, because I do like that shit, but only just recently have I gone... Like, I totally get where you're coming from. I'm not being like, transcended in some kind of like other space. But I kind of just have gone, I wonder what that really heavy thing that I thought, I'm never going to wear that. And I used to do that where I'd be like, that's a no-no for the summer. There's no way I'm going to wear that really heavy amber shit in the summer. But then you do, and you go, it's like a completely different fucking experience.
But then there's things like, again, we're talking about autumn stuff, but then there are also some fragrances I just feel are so Christmassy. They're just so absolutely Christmas for me. If I wore those in the summer, that would be like the perfume equivalent of synesthesia.
Do you think it ruins the Christmas effect for you? Do you think it would, is it almost like right,
totally.
Okay. That's interesting because that's like a kind of sentimental reason, isn't it? Really, to be like, no, I associate these with this time. I get that there's practical reasons because when it's hot, you want to wear something fresh and you want to feel fresh. Do you know what I mean? I get that. And most of the time, believe me, I'm a clammy, fucking hairy motherfucker, right? And I want to smell of like citrusy shit mostly in the summer or something diffuse and nice. I get that. But also, I kind of like the thing of how does heat affect this really heavy perfume that I'm wearing? It might be fun to wear it, and I've noticed that it really is. And sometimes, I kind of, it's not to be like too cool for school and be like, yeah, I'm wearing fucking chorus on my forehead in like, the middle of July in like 40-degree fucking.
That's the definition of cool, isn't it?
But that is pretty fucking cool.
It is now.
Do you know what I mean? If someone's doing that, I'm like, dude, you're fucking awesome.
That's cool, motherfucker.
But there's something as well for me about moving through my collection. So, and rotating through it seasonally is one way of me also making sure that I wear everything. And that's very much a lesser reason. But if I didn't rotate, I think there's tons of stuff I just wouldn't wear. I'd forget about in some way. Whereas rotating through, and I just like it. I like doing it.
Yeah, I always see it as part of the challenge of like, sort of blending in with your environment, right? So it's like, I don't know, for me, I always feel like you pick a perfume, like whether it be for like the season or the event or whatever, it's like you're picking something, it's like a test of your kind of knowledge of your collection and how well you're going to fit into that environment. And if you'll fit in with it seamlessly, then you've done a good pick, like, so. For me, it's like when it comes to like autumn, for example, it's like you want to pick like woods and smokes and stuff because that's the kind of, when you go out, the leaves are falling down, the trees are bare, like, you smell the smoke from the chimneys and stuff. And so you want to just blend in with that.
And there's that, and I tell you what, I did buy, I've been on a bit of a buy ban recently, but I picked up a nearly full vintage bottle of L'Artisan tea for two for like 70 quid. And it feels so deliciously soft rays, last rays of summer, early autumn light, warm cup of tea, smoky tea. It just is, it's perfect.
It's like complementary colours. You pick your fragrance to complement, if we're talking about synesthesia, you pick your fragrance to complement the environment I guess.
I think James's point that people can be deliberately contrary. I mean, I
do that as well sometimes. Like Oud Infinity in summer, cracking, but not always.
Yeah, but it's like I think the contrariness is best exercised in a sort of measured and thoughtful way. If it's just, hey, I want to wear fucking something stinky just to prove everyone wrong, then it's a bit fucking pointless. But I think you're right. You definitely choose what to wear based on, your surrounds, your mood. But those things tend to be sort of related, and particularly, I mean, my favourite part of autumn is the colours and the low light and everything. I love it. The only thing I hate about fucking autumn is like wet fucking leaf mulch everywhere, and it's just so annoying. But like aesthetically, it just looks amazing. And I think you said smoke. Smoke's an interesting one for me. It's not something that I immediately associate as an autumnal thing, but certainly
not even with bonfire night.
Yeah, I mean bonfire night. People have their fires on. It kind of. Yeah, it's pretty smoky, isn't it, dude?
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. It's just not the first thought that I have when it comes to perfume.
So I like just to like crack straight into our lists and stuff.
Oh
or not a list. But, like I have this perfume which I'll only pretty much wear during bonfire nights and stuff, which is Tonnerre by
I was going to
Beaufort.
say that's a Beaufort.
Barbecue lemons.
And it-
Viamet or
It's,
Tonnerre.
it's just so smoky. It's relentless. It's so hard to wear, but those cold autumn evenings, it's just fucking spot on because the smoke is just magnificent and it calms it as well, I think, with the cold air and
I
stuff.
bought a Beaufort.
I feel like that way about... Oh!
Yeah, I blind bought it. I don't know whether I'm going to like it. My guess is I won't, but I did read the description.
Which one?
Acrasia.
Oh, I've never smelt that. It must be one of the
Right.
ones.
It scanned as being sort of my jam, and there was a good price on it, and I thought, oh fuck it, I fancy a random blind buy, and Ben always goes on about Beaufort being amazing, so that should arrive in time for the next episode, so I'll tell you whether it's any good. I probably would have sold it by the time we... I don't even know. Honestly, I'm not even sure.
2022, it says here. Red wine, Sicilian lemon, bergamot, incest rose, geranium, cinnamon, jasmine, Juliamber.
That was their rose perfume that they released recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't smelled it yet.
It sounds kind of mad.
Big Rose, I think.
It sounded fun,
doing.
and I got it for about 50, 60 quid, something like that, which seemed pretty sort of reasonable for a blind buy. My blind buy threshold has come right down since being unemployed.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, let's spend fucking £400 on some random bottle of perfume you've never tried. Probably not. That's going to feed my family for some time. But yeah, I mean, I think 50, 60 quid is pretty reasonable blind buy. I think I paid that. It doesn't say.
It'll be...
Oh yeah, £58.
Rich. And
It sounds like a very rich, with the red wine and the rose and the incense. I think it'll be perfect for autumn.
It does sound rather nice for autumn, doesn't it? Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. James,
no,
you were going to say something.
I was just going to say that I think equally basing it more on mood. So I get, like I say, because I've largely subscribed to this, like most of the time I would be completely like, agreeing with you and going, but I feel like that's a very perfume collectors type thing to do, to go, I've got to organize my kind of things into certain, seasons and stuff. And I'd like to say I've pretty much always done that until the last sort of few years, maybe, where I've just gone, it depends more on my kind of mood. And yeah, there's certain days where you go, there's no way that I could wear something like imagine this, right? So we're all people with like multiple fucking cupboards full of bottles of perfume, and you're not gonna like find somebody who's like, I've got a signature scent, I wear Orange Blossom 365 days a fucking year. You'd be like, what? Like, how do you do that? How do you do
fucking
that?
mad?
Yeah, exactly. So we can't even relate to somebody who would not even consider the seasons. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that your average punter, regular person, of course they do, because they'd probably go, oh, that's too heavy for whenever. But there's certain crossover perfumes that might just be worn the whole time, like a fucking Sauvage or what, whatever. But and
some people
there's
will just
nothing
wear
more,
anything.
Yeah, there's nothing more mind-numbing to the prospect of that is like, just fucking kill me now. Do you know what I mean? So I get that, but also it works the other way, because I was saying about sometimes I like fresh things or different things in the winter or the really cold days. I'm like, let's wear a fucking eau de cologne. Let's just see how that goes, and it more kind of maybe affects your mood. It might be a bright day, it might be fucking freezing, but it might be like a really bright day, and you might go, it's almost summery, like it's fucking freezing, but it's like, it's kind of blue skies and stuff, and it's kind of nice, and I'll wear that. And that's the kind of appreciation that I'm getting now, rather than going, I want a nice woolly fucking jumper of a fragrance on today because it's warm.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I completely agree with that, and it'll vary, and I don't think anyone is saying that
You have to. I know. No one's saying you've got to do this.
This cupboard is for summer, and this cupboard is for not summer, and never the twain shall meet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more just for me. It's a shifting of the balance. But when I was doing my limited preparation for this one, actually, I did write down vetiver. And I associate vetivers as being quite autumnal, because they're sort of earthy, and rooty. Yeah, exactly. So I probably will spend quite a bit of time wearing vetivers over the next few months. And you mentioned actually, James, on WhatsApp the other day that you tried Vetiver Imperial by Boadicea, or, as Robes calls it, Bodacia.
Bodacia, dude.
Bodacious. I love that.
Well, do you
his pronunciation is as mad as ours. So.
Yeah. I love his French pronunciation, considering he's from a country that kind of speak a bit of French. He's fucking
French,
and you're like, what? What the fuck? Like, there's no way he could go to France. They'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I think he thinks he's fluent. Well, we'll talk to him anyway. I'll fucking slag him off to his face. No, I like that guy, and he did a really cool video, actually, didn't he? Which we can probably talk about with him. Where he sort of
absolutely
broke down who's a twat, but he was very respectful.
What are you doing, Ben?
Well,
yeah.
Oh, I was just looking through this because it turns everything pink.
Yeah, sorry, Ben. Yeah, sorry, James. I mean, I was listening intently, but then Ben was just.
I was listening.
Ben was just like.
Oh, Ben,
apparently. Mum, if I look through this bottle, everything goes pink. Look! Oh, yeah. That's amazing. Just to...
God.
Yeah, in fact, it's not even worth going...
Put it down now.
It's not worth going back to.
Sounds like a teacher in the back of class.
Right, Ben, come on, Ben. Share with us what's in the pink bottle. Is that Sakura?
It's Purple Oud.
Oh, it's not even fucking pink.
Christian Dior, which is...
It's fucking purple.
It's pink. It's pinky purple.
It's purple. But it's that's a vetiver that I really like.
Purple Oud is a vetiver.
Autumn. Yeah, it's not oud. It's nothing to do with oud at all. It's a vetiver fragrance. It's and it's gorgeous. I tell you what, it's a fucking beaut. It's so good.
It's all coming full circle.
Yeah,
it might be that
magic.
Chinese oud. That's the interpretation of that. That's kind of vetiver.
Well, it got hammered when it got released because everyone thought, why are you calling it oud? Because it's not an oud fragrance. Which fear
None of them are ouds. What's it matter? Yeah.
But it doesn't matter anyway. Like smell the fragrance for what it is.
Sound like Aaron Terence Hughes.
It's a great vetiver fragrance. It really is good. It's walks a really fine line between that, like, sort of, Dior vetiver. It's very like clean and nice, and then you've got some sort of the dirtier, more nagamorthery kind of vetivers that are a bit more earthy and brown. This, I feel like, walks a really fine line between the two, in that it's definitely a more earthy, like spiky vetiver, but it's got this lovely kind of like classiness to it as well, which you don't often find with those kind of vetivers.
Really liked it, and I
great.
wanted to like it because it's called Purple Oud, not necessarily because of the oud, but just because I like purple, like the colour, and I really liked it. I remember, and a lot of those ones when they came out, like there was Santal fucking Noir. I don't know what it was called.
Santal Noir?
Yeah, that's another cracker. Santal Noir.
So there was about a few that came out when they kind of revamped the line and stuff, and people were going, "Oh, what's his name? Fuck it, I can't even remember his name now. He's retired. What was the perfumer?
Wasn't
Demachy.
Jacques Cavalier, was it?
Demachy.
Oh, Demachy.
People going, "Oh, it's shit," and I was like, actually, some of those are pretty creative, to be honest, and they're pretty like classy. And I know, everyone wants to say Dior went downhill and stuff, and I suppose, maybe they weren't as good as some of the original releases, but some of those were good. And I think I remember you bringing this up before about the Purple Oud, and I was like, I like that one. Yeah, I'll just say that Bodicea, the lady behind the counter was like, "Oh, he's really liking this. Oh, he's loving this. Oh, it's great." And then she went, "Oh, so yeah," like trying to like push it on me, and I was like, "No, because I hate the brand. I had a bit of a run-in with the brand owner and the guy who started the brand, and I think he's a wanker. So I'm not going to be buying that. I wouldn't give him my money. I wouldn't piss on him." No, I didn't say that.
If he was on fire.
Yeah, I was like, no, he's just a bit of a dick and I don't really want to give him money. I don't think he's anything to do with the brand anymore, but I just thought it would be funny to say that to a shop assistant, even though, it's fucking, yeah, whatever. And she was just like, oh right, like really telling me. I was like, no, I'm only messing, it's all right, like I'll buy this other one. No, I didn't really. But
he touched me here and here.
Anyway,
yeah. Well, I like that. They have another one though. So Vetiver Imperial is of Vetiver, sort of the Terre de Hermès kind of vibe, and they have one called Lavish, which is this ultra sharp, kind of polished, clean sort of vetiver, which actually, after we spoke on WhatsApp about it, I got that and I wore that to the gym this morning, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It's really fucking clean. It's comes in this lovely silver sort of a bottle. Makes it stand out a bit. So yeah, for me, vetiver is autumnal. Ben, other than squinting through pink bottles, other things that feel autumnal for you?
Olibanum.
And is olibanum incense? Is it, yeah.
Yes, yeah, like a resiny, woody thing. And this fragrance is zoologist civet. Now, obviously, your first thought to that is, oh my God, civet, like zoologist, that's going to hum, right? Not at all. All it is like olibanum woods, and it's fucking magic. It's really warm, resiny. It's the olibanum smells just like when you get, have you ever smelled like hardly the olibanum that you burn, like the resin basically. It smells, it's just bang on that. It's almost like that's like 90% of the fragrance is that, and then there's just some like sort of soft woods in the background, bit of spice. It's really good. It's that for me is very brown. Do you know, like an autumn, being brown. This is a very brown fragrance. It's like it exudes brownness. But it's great. Like for a kind of like resiny, sort of plasticky, resiny incense, it's a really good one. And don't be put off by the civet thing, because it that's nothing to do with anything. I don't even think it has civet in it. I can't smell it if it does. To me, it's like pure resins. Cracker. So that's very autumn for me. Very brown.
Yeah. I mean, on the sort of incensey vibe, I mentioned it in the last episode, and I've been meaning to send you all samples, but I can't bring myself to fucking give you any because it's mine. It's the Dawn, the Frederick Malle one, and it's just like this, like smouldering ball of kind of white heat sort of incense, and there's just something so kind of I hate myself for saying it, but it's almost like it's profound as a perfume to wear. It just honestly, I cannot tell you how fucking amazing I find that perfume. And if I can bring myself to send you each a tiny little bit to try, I will, because I want you to experience it. I just don't want to surrender any of it.
Is that the Frederick Malle?
Yeah. It's a stunner, which I may well wear during autumn. But also on the subject of Frederick Malle, Portrait of a Lady. It finally fucking clicked for me. I don't know why. It's never really worked for me before, but I picked up a tester the other day for cheap, and it's amazing. Absolute, like, where the fuck has that been all my life? And well, it's probably just been on a shelf somewhere waiting for me to get my head around it. But what a perfume. What a fucking perfume. Probably not an autumn specific perfume, but what a fucking perfume nonetheless.
I think that's one of them why not.
I was wearing
like
it
anytime,
Yeah. I when we talked about it last week, I dug out a little tester of it because I haven't smelt it for ages, and I'd forgotten how good it is. I was just like, and the patch and the patchouli, the way that it supports the rose, just gorgeous. And I think actually it is a really good autumn perfume. It's on my list as if I had a bottle, I would wear it.
Considering, I'm sorry, me dog ate my own work, I've not done it, I'll just kind of cobble something together on the spot. I'll just say that yesterday I wore one of these new Balmains. So obviously Balmain have made sort of remade their line, and I'll just say that I haven't tried them all yet, so I'll get to those at some point. But
have they remade Carbon?
Yes, and that's the one that I wore yesterday. And let me tell you something, Carbone, I would say it's called.
Carbone.
Okay. So, not to be confused with Carbone de Balmain, which was the old one. So this is a different fragrance. So they haven't remade the Balmain that you want in a kind of chunky bottle, which I never bought. I always liked it because
that's Carbone de Balmain.
Yes,
is it?
and this is just Carbone. Bottle. They've rebranded it, redone it, and they've completely remade it. Right?
Okay.
Now. Dude. Right.
Is that a good
fuck me? You know I'm a sucker for musks, right? And this is like this is a musk perfume, right? It really is. It's kind of a bit cheesy and sort of chintzy in one respect, right? That it has this kind of opulent accord, right, that I would say is kind of plasticky, it's kind of saffrony, it's kind of rosy, it's kind of patchouli-ish, but it's very plasticky and slightly fucking jarring, right? And it's very, 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 very strong and tenacious, right? But
that's like 7 varies.
Yeah, the underpinning kind of thing of it is that it's like, I think I described it as being like rear naked choked by a fucking Care Bear, right? It's basically like the hardest, like most hardcore fucking cuddle like you could ever imagine. And it's relentless. And it's very much like all those kind of musks that I like, you know, Over the Musk, fucking Essential Parfums musk. This is more like Essential Parfums because it's not got that honeyed element. It's got this slightly rose inflected thing instead. And it almost goes, oh, for fuck's sake, this is annoying me. And then you go, oh, but I love it so much. It's kind of like a fucking, you know, tipsy-turvy kind of relationship. It's like 1 minute it's fucking sweet and tender, and then the next thing it's fucking doing your head in. But like, I'll tell you what, I love it. I fucking love it. And it's just lovely. And I could still smell it this morning. Like, I mean, it was like in me in a good way. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. But then I was like, okay, so I wore Eben the day before, and Rich Mitch was like, oh yeah, fucking Eben, I've got a classic bottle of that from the 70s or whatever, and yeah, it smells amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't think it's, the new one's shit. And I was like, just hold your fucking horses, hang on. And it's not the same fragrance, right? So that is not the same one. But I think Eben is Carbone de Balmain. So they've switched. So they've done a new Carbone, but they've moved that to be Eben now.
Is the new Carbone? I'm just looking online, but is the new Carbone marketed as a women's, and Carbone de Balmain was marketed as men's?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I don't think they've put a kind of things on these like genders or whatever. And yeah, even like Von Vert and stuff like that. Like I went to the counter and I spoke to like the people, and I didn't want to give them like I'll give you a perfume education, but I did ask them like, oh, have you had like training on these? No, because I saw a video today because it annoyed me, and I was like, who's talking about these new Balmains, whatever? And I went online and I picked the first YouTube video that I saw. It was a lady who I've never heard of, never seen before, part of the fragrance community, I'm assuming. And she immediately started by saying, oh, I'm assuming there's a beauty channel as well. She had plenty of fucking perfume bottles behind her, so she seemed pretty perfume focused. But she said, so barman, the brand moving into the beauty space for the first time. I'm like, these perfumes are fucking 100 years old, nearly. Do you know what I mean? Do you fucking know anything? Like, she'd clearly done like no research saying, they're jumping on the. She wasn't saying they're jumping on the bandwagon. She was like, every one of them's nice. You know, the usual fucking bullshit. But for her to say, this maybe they hadn't made cosmetics before. I don't know. Do they make makeup and shit, Fliss? I don't know.
Fuck if I know.
No, I don't think they do. So. But
no, I
again,
don't think so.
They make hair stuff.
Do they?
Hair stuff.
Oh, okay. So yeah. I just mean to say, they're moving into the beauty space because they've seen that it's this big thing. It's like, no, like, and so anyway, this is when I was having the conversation with the people at the thing. I said, do you know the history of like Von Vert and stuff? And they were like, yeah, we've been on a training course the other week. And so I started talking about Germaine Cellier and stuff. And they were quite enthused about that. They were really good, actually. They were just like young people on the counter. So I had a good conversation with them. And it was nice to see. Those new bottles are beautiful as well. Like, they are really nicely, like, all this packaging and stuff is like,
where?
It's really nice. In the Trafford Centre.
What, in Selfridges?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They had like a little pop-up barman thing. I know. I thought they would do because I think they've only just come out. They were only released on the French website like the other week. Because I saw them and I thought, oh, wow, they're attractive bottles, and they'd redone them. I always wanted to get that Carboni. I don't know why I didn't. I could have got it for fuck all, you know. And in actual fact, it's a bit like, if you want a reference, it's kind of a bit like peppery incense. It's like kind of crudely Gucci pour on, you know, that kind of.
Do you know what? That was exactly the sort of the reference I had in my head for it as well.
So Eben, the new Eben is that basically. So
is it Almerac?
Do you know what? I don't know any of the perfumers. I have no idea, but they're very well made. And do you know what? They all got this kind of woody thing to them. There's a few new ones. There's like an amber, which they've said is an amber, but it's not a typical amber because it's very olibanum-y. So Ben might like it. It's got a sweet, beautiful top note, lovely, quite fleeting, and then it kind of just turns into sort of, olibanum, going through the motions, woody, spicy. They're all a bit woody, spicy kind of vibes. I thought the Von Vert was very good, very strong, very much reminiscent, because like I say, I have got pretty good experience of some of the really old. Fliss and I were saying before how the vintage ones actually really do fare really well. They must just be really excellently made perfumes because they do fare well, the vintage ones. Certainly I've had some very generous friends who've sent me really old decants and stuff, and I'm like, fuck me, like Jolie Madame, Von Vert, all those kind of ones, they're still really intact. They've still got loads of the greenness to them, and I'm just like pretty blown away by that. But the new interpretations, they're pretty good. So I'm just saying, don't write them off as, they're just some shit. Yes, they've revamped them and they're charging like 250 quid a bottle or whatever they are. Are they worth it? Probably not really. But are they well made? Yes, I would say so in the main. And that Carboni
how much did you pay for the sample box?
I don't know. I think it was about fucking 40 quid or something stupid. No, I think it was 35 quid. But I just thought, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I'm not buying perfume at the moment, but it gives me a bit of food for thought and stuff. And Ivor de Balmain, that one.
Ivor?
Ivoire.
Are you a fan of that, Fliss?
I don't know it very well at all. I am a fan of Jolie Madame, Miss Balmain, Von Vert, though. Very, very much.
Try that new Von Vert because I think it's good. I don't think it doesn't have the really ashy. And again, you go in with base materials that are constantly fucking improving and stuff, and maybe the galbanum and stuff is still fucking doing some magic or whatever, but it's a lot fresher and more kind of modern, you can tell, but it still has all the characteristic like ashy fucking, it's definitely got depth to it, and it's very unusual. And the fact that I love that there's still people discovering it to this day and still wearing it and being like, and you do stand out with that, because all this other line you might go, oh, they're a bit safe, or they're a bit kind of what Von Vert is like, not safe at all. It's very much its own thing.
Yeah.
So here's something, we're sort of rapidly running out of time, but here's something I wanted to throw open as a possible thing for autumn to see whether anyone had tried any of them yet, which is the new Dior range of elixirs. Are they elixirs or Esprit de Parfum, which is the new Kirky sort of retread of, I think, Gris Dior, Ispahan, Ambre Nuit, and possibly one other. And has anyone tried any of them?
I had the opportunity to try them. I walked past the booth and I was like, I can't be arsed. Yeah. I'm just not bothered.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I really want to try the Ambre Nuit one. I tried the Ispahan one, and it was good, but it felt like just a punched up version of the current one, but not quite as good as the original.
One, yeah.
So, yeah. And randomly I picked up a small bottle, well, a partial bottle of a 2013 Ispahan. The difference between that and today's stuff is just night and day. I mean, they're barely related perfumes. It's mad. And the Esprit sort of gets a little bit back towards the original, but really not far enough to warrant the fucking 300 odd quid that they're charging for 80 mil, which is...
Sorry, just while I think on the back here is all the allergens, all the materials that they have to put on the perfume. And look how small the one for Carbone is, the musk, the really simple musk perfume. There's fuck all. Like, look at this one. It's like a whole list. Like, there's tons of them. And then there's just this tiny, couple of sentences for what's it, which is... Sorry, go on.
I tell you what's quite nice about that. Quite often you see brands just use just one list for an entire sample pack, and it's like it's an exhaustive list of all the allergens that exist in the pack. It doesn't tell you whether any of them are specific to any one perfume.
Sure,
that's quite interesting to see them so sort of specifically written down. And you can see a very short list there for.
It's a very simple perfume. That's what I mean. I'm quite a simple man in many ways, and it's a bit of a cop out to make a musk. I've often said this, that no, they're actually harder than you think to make and stuff like that. But to a perfumer, it's probably not. You know what I mean? But it's just it pleases this crowd anyway, that I just love it, and I'm just I can still smell it on this drum. I'm wearing the oud thing today, that different thing, but I can still slightly smell it. It's fucking just really comforting. I do like musks.
Nice. I do like musks, yeah. Nice. Okay, well, look, I know we promised we would get through this half of the episode too sweet, because we've got something of a whopper lined up for the next episode, I think. Given that we have a whole back catalogue of vintage Guerlains to get through.
Autumn's a long time. We can talk more about autumnal perfumes, can't we?
Well,
we don't have to do it in one episode.
We can come back to what have you been wearing in autumn, as long as everyone brings a top 10 list. Ben, what are you sniffing there? And in fact, before you answer, is that a fucking Hugo Boss perfume in your hand?
It's not.
Oh, thank God for that. What is it?
It's a Midnight Stroll by Gucci.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
From
nice.
The Alchemist
You are
Garden,
let off the hook.
Or whatever it was. But yeah, just a cracking autumn perfume. It's so woody. It's just all woods. It's like woods and smoke. It's brilliant. I love it.
I liked it until it dried down, and then there was a woody amber in the base.
It smells very like synthetic and cheapy almost, but I don't mind that.
It does.
It has the same. It's a completely different perfume, but it has the same cheapness as Oud Mineral, and I like it for the same reasons. Weirdly, I kind of like that cheap amber that's in it. It smells great. But very super woody, super like autumn is all monkeys. It's
Autumn is all monkeys.
Autumn is all monkeys.
It's all turtles all the way down, my friend. Right. So, okay. Any final thoughts on autumn, Ben?
Love it. I think it's a really interesting time because for me with the perfumes, it's like, in autumn, you want to go for like the woods and the spice and stuff, but you don't want to go too heavy because that's the winter stuff, right? Yeah. So, it's nice trying to like. I find it I enjoy the challenge of like trying to strike that balance between like, the summer and the winter fragrances, like finding the nice woody, spicy stuff, but it doesn't make you smell too Christmassy. You know, it's like you want to differentiate yourself. So I enjoy it.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's exactly my thinking is I want to go a little bit and that smoky woodiness is not the same as the heavy vanilla-y, spicy, Christmassy stuff. And you don't want to get that too far. You certainly can't be wearing that before Halloween.
Yeah.
You want to just ease yourself into that Christmas feeling. So some of it's still quite light as well. There's some like maybe a bit more sort of woody, piney colognes even, I would say. But that you can't be
piney.
I got a Bulgari Ote Rouge cologne that's quite light, but it's like Rooibos tea. So it's, sort of brown, smoky tea.
Teas, like I said, the tea for two is good. The Goutal Bois d'Adrienne is really nice.
Bois d'Adrienne.
That's the one.
Nice. Good. I could have been French if it wasn't for all the French.
Get Robes to say it.
If it wasn't for having to speak the French.
Yeah, get Robes. Sorry. Okay. So Fliss, any other thoughts from you?
Not really. I like a good sandalwood as well.
Nice.
In the autumn, a nice pure sandalwood like Tam Dao from Diptyque or Santal Blush. That kind of, not too heavy, but a good sandalwood. Meander, Amouage do a lovely. Meander is perfect. Just a little bit spicy, but not too spicy. Creamy sandalwood, comforting in that slightly cooler weather. That's my big top tip for the autumn.
I get that. Yeah, sandalwood is autumnal. Very nice time of year. I like it as a time of year. It's a nice quality of light. The sun's really like low in the sky in it, and it's not quite started happening yet, but it's coming into that time when it's like.
Oh, it's definitely coming.
Yeah,
it's definitely coming. You get much more of that sort of orange sort of light in the evenings, and I like it.
Those first mornings when the spiders have been all over the lawn and the rose bushes, and they're full of, all the spiders' webs are full of dew, and the light hits them. That's when you know it's the real start of autumn for me, is that first morning when there's suddenly cobwebs and there's suddenly dew on the cobwebs. You're like, here we go.
Yeah,
get in.
Yeah. I mean, autumn visually is lovely, but it's all the fucking nonsense, like condensation on the windows and fucking leaf mulch everywhere and fucking bird shit on the car and all that horrible stuff that is just like, you're ruining it, you cunts. Could we not? Let's have the nice autumnal, orange brown hues, the low light, all that. No, bird shit and fucking leaf mulch. Anyway, James, any other final thoughts on autumn and autumnal perfume?
No, not really. No, not really.
I was going to say normally you go not really and then sort of proceed to.
I know I could squeeze something out, but no, I'm not going to. I'm just going to.
Okay, well,
just going to leave it at that.
Excellent. Well, look, let's wrap it up at bird shit and leaf mulch then, and leave them wanting more, which I'm sure they do. It is, by the way, an absolute pleasure to be back. Finally, our break ended up longer than usual, and I hate making it all about me, but last summer was a complete car crash because my dad died, and then this summer was something of a car crash because of an extended redundancy process that I was involved with at work, which has now thankfully, mercifully come to an end. I just want to kind of try and get focused back on delivering the world's greatest podcast. So if you see any good podcasters with a decent podcast, let me know, because this one's shit. Yeah. Anyway, right, it's been a laugh. It's very mean. Yeah, it's been a laugh, and we'll be back in 2 weeks, where we're going to be talking, I think, about vintage Gerlands, which is going to be a hell of an episode. So get lubed up for that one, kids. No, that sounded completely wrong. But fuck it. What else can I say?
Leave it. Never apologise, never complain, never explain. Moving along.
Moving swiftly along. Right, we will catch you in 2 weeks' time on Les Oderants. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.